low carb, no carb, gluten-free diets. Do we even know the difference between carbohydrates and gluten? Well, I actually do. And today I'm going to talk all about the differences between low carb diets and gluten-free diets, and I'm going to teach you all you need to know. Welcome to Boom 50 Fitness. My name's Regan, and this is your channel for all things health and fitness in your 50s and beyond. So what made me want to hit this topic? Well, my husband, over the weekend, I heard him on the phone with a friend, and he said, yeah, my wife, she's got me on some gluten-free diet, and I'm not eating carbs, and he just kind of had it a little bit wrong. And so when I asked him about it, I said, do you know the difference between carbohydrates and gluten? He didn't. So for all of you out there that aren't sure what the difference is, I'm going to explain it to you. And even if you do know what the difference is, stick around because I'm sure there's going to be a few little tips and tricks that maybe you haven't heard of before. And stay tuned because at the end of this video, I will tell you what type of program I put my husband on. And he's lost a bunch of weight if that's something you're interested in. And he has more energy. All right, real quick, let me throw in my disclaimer. My degree is in exercise physiology, and I'm currently working on a master's in health sciences and nutrition, but I am not a dietitian yet, and I am definitely not a doctor. So take this all with a grain of salt. No pun intended. Would that be a pun? Is that a pun? Anyway, let's go back to what we're talking about. Let me start by saying carbohydrates and gluten are not the same thing. Okay, nutrition 101. What are carbohydrates? Well, carbohydrates are one of the 3 macronutrients that are not created within the body. What are the other 2? Proteins and fats. Carbs are units of energy found in the form of sugar molecules, and they are composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Simple carbs, or maybe you've heard of them referred to as simple sugars, are made up of just a few sugar molecules, and they just pop right into the bloodstream. Those are the ones that just break down rapidly and give you that little boost of energy. An influx of these simple carbs also triggers a release of insulin. And insulin acts like a little key that allows the cells to absorb the energy from the carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates, which are also known as the starches, take a much longer time to break down. Why? Because they are just longer strings of sugar molecules. And because this breakdown takes longer, the release of insulin takes a little bit longer and doesn't pop into the bloodstream just as fast. And because the breakdown takes longer, the body's blood glucose levels do not rise nearly as fast. And because of that, much less insulin is needed to process those molecules. The body's cells can be provided with energy from other sources, but carbohydrates are kind of like the go-to for your body. If there are no carbs present, the body turns to proteins and fats. Oh, is that why we keep hearing about keto these days? Exactly. Okay, let's move on to gluten. What is gluten? Gluten is actually a protein that's found in wheat products. It's kind of like this gooey substance that gives breads its texture. And it's not just present in wheat, it's also present in other grains like barley and rye. But wheat is definitely the most common. Many people, as they get older, develop an intolerance to gluten. They may not necessarily have been diagnosed with a gluten intolerance, or as you may know it, celiac, celiac, people say it different ways, disease. There are definitely some symptoms to a gluten intolerance that people may not know about. You may know about the digestive issues, but it can also cause achy joints and skin issues. It's also been linked to a bunch of other diseases and conditions that you just don't want. And gluten is just not a necessary component for the body to function. And what I'll tell my clients is if they think that they could have a gluten sensitivity, to just go gluten-free for 30 days and see how you feel. And then after the 30 days, what you want to do is a gradual reintroduction of gluten very slowly and see how your body responds. Maybe your body feels a lot better when you don't have the gluten. So instead of giving it up completely, you could just cut way back on gluten, or maybe you give it up completely. If you had skin issues that go away and your joints are feeling great and your digestive issues that you had at one point have gone away, then yeah, maybe you go gluten-free completely. And I'll tell you what, there are a lot of amazing gluten-free options out there that are delicious. I have tested so many of them, and a lot of times I can't even tell the difference if it's gluten-free or not gluten-free. I have my creatine and LMNT mix. Yum, it's that time. Every single day I drink my creatine and I drink my electrolytes. I will leave a video up there. Actually, I'll leave it down below in the description and you can click on it, check it out if you want to. It's about creatine and I love it. It makes a huge difference. If you're not on it, consider getting on it. And again, I'll leave the link below for the video. I think there are 2 videos actually that I've done on creatine. It's very, very important. And I'll also leave a link to the electrolyte drink mix that I love, as well as the creatine powder that I use every single day. Okay, back to carbs and gluten. So low carb does not equal gluten-free. Nope, it does not. But there is, however, an overlap between those foods that are high in carbs and foods that are high in gluten. There are gluten-free options out there that have the same or even a higher carbohydrate content than the original wheat-based products. Rice flour is a perfect example. Rice flour doesn't have any gluten, but it's high in simple carbohydrates. So while it might be great for the person who's gluten-free, it's absolutely horrible for the person who is going low carb. And it's really important to note that a lot of the products out there that are labeled gluten-free are high in sugar as well as fats. So be careful if you are going gluten-free. And the reason these sugars and fats are added is because it enhances the flavor. So if you're going gluten-free for health reasons, then really watch the sugar and fat content, because those kind of things can cause a whole nother set of health issues. And the other thing with gluten-free options is they're usually just not as nutritionally rich as the original products. So you're probably going to need to supplement with some of your micronutrients. Vitamin B, D, fiber, and iron are usually the big ones that you're going to need to supplement with if you are on a gluten-free diet. So basically, they are 2 completely different diets. But before trying anything new, I always suggest consulting with your doctor first. Okay, before I close here, I told you I would mention the diet that I have my husband on. I hate the word diet. This is just the way he is eating right now. Actually, I had him do something for 30 days, and now he is in a maintenance phase and gradually adding in carbohydrates. But I basically had him on keto for 30 days. No, I do not recommend this for everybody. But in his case, he had put on some weight. He loves pasta and bread. I mean, who doesn't? But he was going a little bit overboard, and I was pretty sure that he was insulin resistant. And I was encouraging him to go on walks after he would eat something that I knew would raise his insulin levels. And then I said, why don't you try this? Let's try keto for 30 days, because I knew he had a sugar addiction. His was the carbohydrate addiction, you know, the pastas and the breads, tortillas, and all those good things. Rice, he loves rice. And my reason for giving up sugar was I had an addiction to those simple sugars, the ones that I mentioned in the video. And I'll link up above a video on how I broke my sugar addiction. But anyway, back to my husband. He went keto for 30 days, didn't eat any fruit, and he just stuck with vegetables and all whole foods and lots of protein and good fats. But those things that he really loves, the rice, the pasta, the bread, beer, that stuff he just gave up for the 30 days. And what a difference it has made. He for sure has broken his addiction to carbohydrates. It is a real thing. Now, granted, we are adding in things slowly. If you had an addiction to nicotine or alcohol, no, you would not add in, just one cigarette a week or one beer a week. You have to stop cold turkey. But with nutrition, it is okay to add back the things you love gradually. So this is what I've told him. One, he needs to cut his portion size in half when he is eating those things like breads and pastas. And he's so fine with that now because he broke that addiction. And I also said, listen, if you want pasta, have pasta. Cut that portion in half, and maybe once a month you have pasta, or once a month you have bread, and you just add these things in slowly. And the great news about this type of eating is he's really enjoying it and he feels so much better. So he doesn't plan to go back to where he had a turkey sandwich for lunch and a big bowl of pasta for dinner. He's just not interested in that. He loves those foods. He will welcome them back slowly. And but this is just a huge lifestyle change, and it's something that I actually do recommend for a lot of my clients. And I don't like to use the words reboot or jumpstart, but it is a way of bringing your body back to a really, really healthy place. It's so great for gut health, and we all know that your gut health and your gut microbiome is just so important for all the rest of your body and the functions of your body. And if you're wondering how I eat, I will link that down below. If you are a frequent viewer to this channel, you know I eat my body weight in protein every single day. And because of that, I am low carb, because all that protein does not leave me much room for anything else. So I eat all whole foods, tons of protein, and a little bit of carbs mixed in there. Most of my carbs come from vegetables and a little bit of fruit. But again, I don't take away anything. If I want to have some pasta, I'll have some pasta. I actually had some pasta last night. I hadn't had it in like 3 weeks. It was delicious, little portion. Yum, completely enjoyed it, had a ton of protein with it. No guilt, never any guilt. Anyway, the garbage is getting picked up. I know it's loud out there, so I think it's what was that? Did you see that thing just come down the screen? Anyway, I think it's a good time to sign off. I hope you loved this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, ring that little bell notification so that you are the first to know about when any of my videos drop. And what else? My name's Regan. This is Boom 50 Fitness, your new BFF. I'll see you next Thursday.